Duff McKagan, a figure who became an icon in the world of rock music, is not only known for his role as the main bassist in Guns N' Roses but also for the colorful story of his life, from the glittering stage to the darkness of his personal life. As part of Guns N' Roses, McKagan experienced the peak of popularity in the music industry. Along with other band members, he led the wave of revolution in rock music in the 80s and 90s. However, behind the glittering stage and blazing success, lies a dark story haunting Duff McKagan. Private jets, oceans of alcohol, mountains of drugs, and the spotlight of beautiful women surrounded his life for years. For many, such a life may sound like a dream, but for McKagan, it was a real nightmare. As time went on, the extreme lifestyle began to show its terrifying effects. His hair started to fall out, his fingers bled from injuries sustained while playing bass, and his health began to deteriorate. McKagan was barely able to survive, and he found himself on the brink of death. However, from the darkness emerged light. In his latest autobiography, McKagan not only recounts his tumultuous life story but also his journey to recovery. He shares his deep experiences of how he managed to rise from a life too close to death and find true peace and happiness. Duff McKagan's story is a reminder to us all that behind the stage spotlight lies vulnerability and darkness. However, there is also hope and strength to rise from that darkness and find light at the end of the tunnel. McKagan is not just a rock music icon but also an inspiration for those struggling with darkness in their own lives. Born with the name Michael Andrew McKagan on February 5, 1964, in Seattle, Washington, USA, Duff grew up in Seattle, the youngest of 8 siblings to father Elmer McKagan and mother Alice Marie. He was called Duff since his teens, which he often interpreted as something Irish-smelling. When Guns N' Roses rose to worldwide fame, so did my name as the Vodka King. I remember in 1988 at an MTV concert, Axl Rose introduced me to the public as Duff, the King of Beers, McKagan. Soon after, an animation production company asked if they could use the name Duff for a beer brand in their cartoon film. I laughed out loud and said, "Of course, no problem." It all sounded like a cheap project. I mean, how easy my name appeared in that cartoon. I knew a little about the Simpsons and that in a few years I would be carrying glasses and bottles of beer wherever we toured. The reputation for drinking didn't seem like a big issue. But with the Use Your Illusion tour, my intake had reached excessive proportions. Every day I made sure I had a bottle of vodka beside my bed when I woke up. I tried to quit drinking in 1992, but started again wholeheartedly after only a few weeks. I just couldn't stop. I was too addicted. My hair started falling out, and my kidneys hurt when I got angry. The skin on my hands and feet cracked, and I had boils on my face and neck. I had to wear bandages under my gloves when playing bass. Throughout the Use Your Illusion tour, I recorded my own songs, working in various studios. I undertook this project to kill time rather than spending it with vodka. I also knew that if I stayed at home without doing anything, it might trap me further into drugs. Switching from vodka to wine seemed better, but the wine volume quickly escalated until I was drinking 10 bottles a day. I began experiencing the negative effects from wine, feeling nauseous, loss of appetite, and my body swelling. Never before in my life had I wanted someone to kill me to escape this suffering. I had a personal doctor who lived just 2 blocks away from my house, so my friend Andy took me there. Dr. Brad Thomas began examining me. I was injected with Demerol, but the pain continued to spread, and I started to panic. I groaned as my will to live faded. They decided to rush me to the ER at Northwest Hospital. Dr. Thomas told Andy to drive me in his car as it would be faster than waiting for an ambulance. Andy drove as fast as he could while I groaned in pain throughout the journey. When Duff recovered, he was warned by his personal doctor, "If you ever party with vodka again, you will soon be dead." Duff seemed to understand and didn't want his fate to end tragically, either by suicide like Kurt Cobain or overdosing like his old friends. Kurt's previous death somewhat influenced Duff to fear death more. After Duff recovered from his ruptured pancreas, he immediately enrolled in Seattle University for 2 years and earned a degree in finance. Duff also frequently contributed financial columns to Seattle Weekly and wrote his autobiography titled, "It's So Easy," and Other Lies. The stories of the GNR members are essentially the same, telling of their success and suffering with drugs. They surely hope that younger generations won't fall into drugs, which once caused them agony and almost killed them. Not many musicians who were once heavy junkies and alcoholics can break free and clean from it. Many of them fail and eventually perish. They have made mistakes in their lives. We can learn from them without ever having to make those mistakes ourselves. Experience is the worst teacher because it gives the test before the lesson. We can learn from others' experiences without ever having to experience them ourselves.